So this is going to be very informal, right? I do a lot of formal talk, so I try to be as informal as possible, when possible. Where do I start from? Okay, so I was raised in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. I came here to the US when I was 17. And this is true, my father basically gave me $500 and said, good luck. And this is a true story. And so I wasn't much older than anybody in this room when I first came to the US. So I try to say that, and the reason why I'm sort of keen to do this, and I do a lot of talks with young people whenever I travel, is because nobody did this for me, right? And there's so many mistakes, so many sort of lessons that I learned. So basically, life was longer just because I didn't have anybody telling me a lot of stuff, right? So you guys are sort of very fortunate. First of all, you are sort of born into the richest country in the world. I mean, really believe that. And you have all the opportunities in the world, right? It's really up to you to decide what you want to do. And I really believe that, right? So you guys are upper middle class kids. And this is really, so this is you have everything that you need to sort of succeed, right? So you need to know this. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I came here when I was 17, went straight to Howard University for my undergraduate degree. I was a chemical engineering student. I worked full time. I can't remember, but this is about 50 hectares. This is the land, and you can see it's very dry. And our job is to sort of bring water to them. So she was walking by, and I think she's carrying manure and pulling it. So I work a lot with farmers, and they're the hardest working people in the world, I have to say. So this is my Vietnamese team. So it's sort of interesting, you're sort of the only black person around 50 people, and they're all looking at you for answers. It's quite shocking. So this is one of the schemes, and this scheme is about 100 families planting of 50 hectares. And in a year, they make something like, each family goes on about $2,000 a year. That's what they live on. A family of 5 or 6 people. So that's why so the more I travel, the more, like I always tell you, the more I realize how blessed you are, and I am sort of have access to America. Because a lot of people in the world that sort of live in a really hand to mouth. I mean, they're very happy, and don't get me wrong. This sort of has been sort of treated, but basically this is another site of mine. I believe this is in Indonesia. Yeah, this is in Indonesia. And part of what we're trying to do is these cows, they're water buffaloes, but I call it cows because I was talking to my kids and they didn't know what water buffaloes were. But these water buffaloes, part of what we're trying to do is integrate sort of livestock and farming. All that means is all the waste from the water buffaloes, you know what I mean by waste, right? Yeah, all the waste from the water buffaloes, sort of transform it into manure and sort of use it on the rice paddies. So the rice paddies are dry right now because it's not planting season here. This is one of my projects in this country. This is Lesotho. So Lesotho is a country that's inside South Africa. So South Africa is a big country. Lesotho is inside, has about 2 million people. It's sort of landlocked, and they rely on South Africa for everything. So what we're trying to do in Lesotho is get them to start sort of planting internally rather than importing food from South Africa. So this is the first harvest for one of my projects. They were very excited because they had never seen sort of lettuce and sort of tomatoes this big. They'd never seen it before. And what we had done was provide them with fertilizer. Who knows what fertilizer is? Okay, you guys are real farmers, right? I didn't know some of this stuff. So I provide them with fertilizers and stuff. And these are sort of the recipients, right? And some of these people have quadrupled their income in a year, basically through this. This is me in Indonesia earlier this year. I like this picture because I sort of came into, so this is me, this is my colleague, Ilham. He works in the World Bank office in Indonesia. And these are government people. They wear uniforms, but they're just government officials. And then these are farmers, right? And so this is the beginning of this meeting, right? We sat in this meeting. So they came in, they don't sit on chairs, right? We sit on the floor, and you sort of have to do the cross leg. So I came in all cool, right, thinking that I could do this. And I had to sit this like for 6 hours talking to the farmers. So there's a picture of me somewhere, I didn't bring it, sort of leaning on the wall, like I was sweating, and they're all going like all chilling. and I was really sort of worn out after a while. But basically, this just shows you how, in my work, I have to interact with, and they don't speak English, right? So I have a translator who's talking in my ear, and I have a sort of earpiece. And basically, I have to sort of sit down and sort of listen to their problems while eating and talking. This is in Indonesia. This is a rice paddy that's about to get harvested. And already, because I was here the year before, but I didn't take any pictures, I apologize for that. But already I can see that their yields are going to be much more than they were. So basically, it's sort of interesting, you're talking to them, they're very excited, they're waiting to sort of harvest because they know they're going to be richer this year than they were. So I'm going to pause for a minute and just sort of talk a little bit about how we sort of respond to sort of issues at the World Bank and what I do basically. So basically what usually happens is that a country will come to us and tell us that they have a problem. And it's usually a very big problem that requires hundreds of millions of dollars to fix. But in my case, I work strictly on agriculture. And usually it's an issue around not getting enough food out to people in a region. And then they'll come to me and say, look, this is our problem. Okay, this is the issue we have, and they will ask me to fix sort of them. And I have to sort of write usually a 200-page design document. It's usually very big. That has a lot of things in it that we're not going into. But basically, I'm designing sort of a solution to the problem. And the reason why I wanted to come here and sort of talk to you is because I find sort of what you're doing. I mean, right now, maybe you're not so excited, and you don't really understand how valuable what it is you're doing is. But being able to sort of sit down and talk to somebody somewhere else in the world and come up with solutions and come up with ideas or plan something is an unbelievably important skill to have. Like I said, if I had sort of learned this when I was a teenager, I probably would be a director right now, instead of working for my boss. Because it is sort of, it's a very important skill. I mean, to be able to talk to people across countries and across cultures is something I'm still learning. For example, in Vietnam, something happened. I won't go into detail, but somebody made a mistake, right? And in East Asia, you're not supposed to sort of acknowledge mistakes. So I was sort of trying to be nice, and I said to her, oh, relax, it's not a big deal. And my sort of trying to make her feel better, make her feel worse, right? You know, so I learned the hard way very quickly, you know, across cultures. Everybody ignored her, I was supposed to ignore her too, rather than being, oh, don't worry, life is going to be good. But this is sort of my team. Again, I like Indonesia because it sort of brings out, it challenges me because, first of all, it's very different from everything I know. It's a Muslim country, as you can see from the women, right? So every cultural norm that I know is challenged when I'm there. And really, they are dealing with some serious sort of issues, right? So Indonesia spends per capita the most any country in the world. And you know what I mean by per capita? Per head. They spend the most any country in the world on agriculture. And they have some of the worst outcomes, agricultural outcomes. They have some of the worst nutritional outcomes, stunting, malnutrition. And so part of my job, I'm working with these people from the Ministry of Agriculture to figure out what's wrong, right? If you're spending more money per head, why can't you produce food sort of meet global demand? To meet national demand. What else can I share? This is one of the farmers. You can't really see him, but I thought this was really fascinating, right? One of the farmers that I'm working with is sitting on top of this, and I think this is hay, right, for some of his animals. And this picture sort of, I was standing right there, and it's quite shocking how strong this sort of water buffalo is. It's unbelievable. And he takes this thing for a few miles a day, right? And again, same issues, right? Part of the problem for him is sort of getting his animals fed, getting his crops. So really, I'm working with him to come up with I say, chain of activities that will help make his life better. But he was an interesting guy. I wish you could see him. But really, it's really working with people like this to sort of make their lives a bit better. You know, and it costs a lot of money and a lot of my time, but it's a very worthwhile sort of job to do. One more thing, and then we can have a chat. So last year, this lady, I came to visit her, and she was planting maize. And the problem with cereals, maize, for example, is that it's not very profitable, right? So she was making, if I convert to dollars, she was making about $500 per hectare. She has 2 hectares. So she has 3 planting seasons, so she's making about what, $3,000 a year. But she started planting vegetables. We've supported her. We put an irrigation system. I don't know if you can, there's some pipes here, etc. Put an irrigation system for her. And I think this year she's going to make $7,500 this year per season, not for the whole year. So she's basically makes 7 times as much as she used to make doing this. She's an amazing lady. And she's sort of a grandmother, and she has a bunch of grandchildren that she's going to send to private school now because she's made so much money. It's sort of very gratifying for me to sort of be able to do this with people. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute. Is it okay to sort of take questions? And then we can go into details. Yeah, sure, Greg.
You said like 200-page essays.
Say that again?
200-page essays?
Yeah.
Like 200 pages?
Yes.
Okay, how long do you have to do it?
Okay, so being as sort of modest as possible. Okay, so 200, so you asked me how long does it take me to write the 200 pages? Or why do I have to write something that long? So basically when you design a $500 million project, there's several sort of things you have to look at. You have to look at what we call environmental safeguards, for example, which just means that the money that we're investing is not making the environment worse. The social safeguards make sure that we're not kicking people out of their land, things like that. So things like, and then I have to sort of design. So I'm not just designing for this lady, I'm designing for thousands of people like her, right, in her country. It doesn't take very long at this point in my career to write. I'm 38, so I've been working for 15 years. It takes me about a week. I can write a 200-page paper in a week.
20 words.
200 pages. Yeah, because it's what I do, right? So, I mean, but this is sort of building, you know, abilities, right? My first 2 years, it took me 3 months, right? Of full-time work, right? But now I can sort of pull it out in a week. And if I'm under pressure, I can do it in 2 days, right? Mostly because I'll just cut and paste. But that's but yeah, so it does take, it doesn't take very, I mean, anything you do, you learn how to become more efficient and more, and the funny part is, the stuff I used to write 3 months, and the 1 week is better than the 3-month paper I used to write, just because I know what people want, and I know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, so fake it until you make it is my favorite point. Any other questions?
What is the one thing that you hate most about your job?
The fact that I have to pause tells you how much I love my job, right? But I think the flying, the traveling. I wish I could do the Star Trek teleporting thing. Because, okay, for example, to get to Vietnam, the shortest way is for me to fly from Dulles Airport to Seoul, Korea, which is 15 hours. And then from Seoul to, where was I going again? What did I say?
Yeah.
Vietnam. From Seoul to Vietnam could be 8 hours. So basically a whole day sitting on the plane. Good news is they fly us business class. So when I complain, my wife wants to sort of. But the bad news is, it's basically it's a whole day in your life, right, on the plane. And then you land, and the entire US is 12 hours behind you. So I'm like, what day is it? What am I, so for example, I'm going to bed, my family is waking up here. I'm waking up, my family is, because it's 12-hour difference, right? So it's basically 8 a.m., 8 p.m., that kind of scenario. Sure.
What do you make? Like,
don't ask me.
You don't. Let's do a lot of work. So
Okay. First of all, I don't like answering this question, not because it's a secret, but because it shouldn't really matter. But that said, it does matter. Right? So let's just say
Makes enough.
Enough. Well into the six figures.
Which is good for someone in essentially environmental science
Yeah.
and biology, which is excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
How often do countries come to the World Bank to like ask for loans?
Oh, okay, so we have 189 member countries. So basically, something's happening all the time with every country, right? I think depending on, it depends on, so right now, because there's a recession in most countries, you don't feel it because you're in America, but the world is going through a very massive recession. We have, I'm super busy right now putting together projects. Yeah. So, but I think in a year, we land somewhere around $10 billion, all the sectors, all the projects, something like that. So.
And it's mostly like third world countries?
Developing countries, yes, that's the one. Yeah. I think we do have some middle income countries that, for example, the Stans, I call them the Stans, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, those are middle income countries, but they still borrow from us. But okay, so let me explain, and this is a good question actually. So let me explain some of the World Bank loan terms, but I think it's important. So we lend to countries less than 1%, and they don't have to pay back for 20 years. So I wish I could get a mortgage. That's it's unbelievable. But for the middle income countries, we have less favorable loan terms, which is more than 1%, but less than 2%. Not that, but they have to pay back within 15. Is that we have every nationality at the World Bank. For example, Trinidad, I have 5 buddies that are from Trinidad that I work with very closely. For example, Nigeria, my country, there are about 300 Nigerians at the World Bank in DC. So you sort of, it's a good place if you're sort of a worldly person, but if you're a super American, maybe not. So it depends on how you sort of see the world, how you want to see the world. It's an awesome place to work. It's very hard to get in. It's very difficult. For example, there's a program for people under 32. I think they only take 30 out of 10,000 applicants every year. So it's sort of like but it's because it is sort of, what's what I'm looking for? It is a dream job, right? I mean, it's
prestigious. Prestigious.
No, it's prestigious, but I think if you like, sort of helping people and seeing the world, and I've been to 100 countries in my career, right? So if you like doing this stuff, I have a lot of blood clot problems with my legs because I'm always sitting in the plane for hours, right? And you get very productive because if you are sitting in the plane for 23 hours, you're going to write a lot of papers, right? So this is how I write my papers, right? On the plane, just going. I get to watch a lot of movies. I've seen every movie because they're all on the plane. I watch a lot of TV. Any questions? You're very quiet.
Oh, no,
Okay.
Wait. Is the headquarters in DC?
So the headquarters in DC, which is another sort of bone of contention. The headquarters in DC, we have about 8,000 people here, and then we have an office in 180 some countries. So basically everywhere I go, I have counterparts, people that I work with that are World Bank staff. And depending on the country and how big the program is, you'll get, some offices have up to 500 staff, some have only 5, depending on the country. So, what else can I say? So basically we hire every type of person, right? We hire engineers, we hire doctors, lawyers, we have too many economists as far as I'm concerned at the World Bank. But we hire a lot of economists. So whatever it is you study, we don't hire neurosurgeons, so can't really help. People say I'm right. We don't want to do neurosurgeons. But we have some doctors, mostly public health specialists. We have a lot of them. Yeah, so that's it. I think, yeah, sure.
Do you speak any other languages?
I speak French. It's sort of a requirement at the World Bank. Except So basically, I think sort of if you want to work in Latin America, they make you learn Spanish. If you want to work in West Africa, Haiti, where else do they speak French now? So basically West Africa, Haiti, and France. You need to sort of speak French. But in East Asia, honestly, to make that requirement that you speak Mandarin, it's not going to happen, right? Because it's a hard language. And that's why I had that translator in my ear. But I pick up, so one thing I do is try to pick up enough to say good morning, ask basic questions. So I could do that in a few languages. But my French is pretty nice. But it's very important. So, advice. I have for you, sort of, as you think about going to college, I have a few things I could say. First of all is, this goes without saying, to go to the best school possible. It helps. I heard this, it really helps. Especially when you're a minority, it helps sort of open doors for you. Another advice, really be bold, right? I got the World Bank job by being very aggressive, right? Like really sort of pursuing people. Nobody gave it to me, right? Nobody said you're smart, a lot of young people think that because you're brilliant or because you have good grades, you're going to get places now. You really have to push, right? Good grades open doors, but just the first doors, right, out of college. And the second, third doors are opened by effort and sort of determination. So I have some classmates that didn't do very well in college. They graduated, but barely. And some of them are millionaires, right? Because they had that extra edge, right? To go out and do things in the world, right? So be very brave, especially as a young sort of minority. You really have to, because you're competing with people that have connections, right? That have family connections, that have friends, so you need to sort of to push extra. It's really important. Make friends. Too many stories. You guys have seen the social network. Friends. Make friends in college, right? When you're in school, make friends because that's how you get places, right? When you meet people, just be nice to people because you never know. It's really important to make friends. I'm doing that every day. Everywhere I go, I take business cards. A lot of people say, "Why are you still hustling?" But it's because it's an everyday thing that you keep on pushing forward, right? So make friends and really think outside the box, right? If I had stuck with the engineering thing, I'd be working in some lab. Nothing wrong with labs, by the way, but I won't be doing what I love, So really push the envelope, right? Really push the limits, right? Don't just be satisfied, with keep on pushing, keep on learning, keep on growing. I think it's really important. What else can I say? And you're not that young. It's very important to say this, right? I've been one of those super serious kids, right? But I have to tell you this, that before you know it, I remember the first day I walked into this country. It was January. I'd never seen the cold in my life, right? I remember that day like it's yesterday, and it's 20 years later. What happens in 20 years? I can't tell you. You're not that young. Don't think that that there's time. I'm going to be, when I'm 25, I'll get it all together. Get it together now, right? Really, I'm not saying don't play. I play Xbox. I have my Xbox. Right? I play. I relax. But it's very important that you understand that that you can do things now. That you can really do things now. You don't have to wait till you're grown and get gray hair and kids. It's time, right? This is the time, right? So really push right now. And what else did I say? I think, and also one thing, sort of stepping outside of my job things, I say this to young people: save money, learn how to save. It has nothing to do with my job per se, but I've seen sort of, especially, it's a habit, right? Because you think, so the amount of money I make now, I didn't think I'd ever make this amount of money. And I have to be honest, that it's hard to start learning how to save when you're making good money. You don't have to save when you don't have money. So learn how to save when you're young. Just put away if you have a $50 allowance, whatever, put away $5, $10. Not just because you want to buy shoes at Christmas, but because it's a habit, right? You put away part of your paycheck, you put away part of the money you make, and it's still with you forever. So learn how to save. Because when I decided to go back to grad school with the twins, I had a nice pot of money that I could sort of lean on for almost 2 years. And I started saving when I was 20. So learn how to save. It will help you sort of have. It will help you make decisions that most people cannot make because they didn't save. And believe me, don't think that again, I'm stepping out of work, but I have to say this, that you sort of, if you're into athletics, right, the first thing you see is people that make $100 million. How can they get broke? How can that happen? It can very easily happen. Beauty about America, you know what the beautiful thing about America is? No matter how much money you make, they'll help you spend it. You can buy a $10 million car if you want, right? There's a house there's a $100 million house. It's out there. Yeah, there is. Yeah. Even in Maryland, go to Potomac, you can buy a house for $100 million. So there's no amount of money that you have that cannot be spent. So that's just so it's very important that as you're thinking about your professional life, you're thinking about your personal life, they go hand in hand, right? And I think that's it. For me, that's it.